Hello, class. Lesson 3, we're going to discuss the while loop. So oftentimes you find yourself having to iterate through a group of objects. Iterate is a fancy term to go through or repetition. When you find yourself repeating a task or repeating code, you often turn to an iteration statement of some sort. And a while statement is just that. The while statement allows you to repeatedly execute a block of code or statements as long as the condition is true. So let's take a quick look at the while statement. Starts with the while statement itself. The building block of it is the condition, followed by a colon, a hard return, a tab over, and here's going to be your script block. It could be basically anything within a while statement. The minute that this condition tests true, this will fire, or Python will run through the script. So let's take a quick look at this. I'm going to go ahead and comment these two lines out. And hit save, hit F5. We're going to run the rest of the script. Then we'll go through these individually. So here we set a variable counter to 3, and we say while 3 is greater than 0, print counting down, and then the counter, which we get this right here, counting down 3. And then we subtract 1. We say variable counter minus equals 1, which is the same as writing something like this. Counter equals counter minus 1. Right? You can either do this or this. This is the more Pythonic way. Right? I'll cancel that out there. So when you subtract 1 from the counter of 3, you get 2. And then it prints out counting down 2. Subtract 1, counting down 1. And then when it's 0, Python goes while 0 is greater than 0, and that is false, and then that loop stops. So the key is, until this is false, the while loop will keep it reiterating through that code in a loop format. So at this point, our counter is now set to 0, right here, after this script statement right here. And this one says while 0 is greater than 0, and you notice these two print statements never get printed because this is false. 0 is not greater than 0, false. Now this statement right here, while 1, print executes at least once, and we see that right here. If not counter, so now we we leverage the if statement. If not 0, break. So this command break, what it does is pretty cool. The break statement allows you to break out of a loop statement. Basically, you force or stop the execution of a looping statement. Even if the loop condition has not become false, because this is still 1, and this is always true, but we told it to break, so it ends the loop. Often, I'm trying to think of when you break statements are pretty cool. If you have a condition here underneath your while statement and you run a test against an object that's true that you were looking for, and you don't need to iterate anymore, so then you just break it. Handy dandy command. We're going to go over it. You'll see it many, many times throughout this course. Moving right along, you'll see that we have another variable, and it equals a list. You declare a list in Python by leveraging 2 brackets with objects inside separated by a comma. And in this case, we have 2 string objects We have Zach and Liam, two names, and we say while names, print names, then we call them the pop method of a list, is going. And you notice here it says, so list, this is index 0 and this is index 1, or the last item in this list. Pop without anything declared removes the last item in the list. So you'll see it say Liam is going, and then it loops again, and then it goes while, then it pops so that it removes Liam from the list, and then it says print names pop, and at this point Zach is the only name in the list, and then you get Zach is going. And then at that point it goes back to iterate while names is false because there's no more objects in the list object, so the loop stops. Awesome. It's another way to use while, right? Because you iterated through each object in your list until the list was empty. And down here we have another list. Let's check out this code. Results variable equals a list 1, 0, 1. This is a process counter called, we gave it the value of 0, passed 0. And here we have process 3, which is the 3 objects in our list, passed 2. So passed met some type of requirement. Let's just check out the code. While results processed plus 1, so we add 1 to the process counter, result equals results.pop. So it starts at the end again. If not result, excuse me, if not result, continue. So if result ends up having an object, continue. If it's not, it's going to fail, right? So once it gets here, it's going to say passed plus 1. So if not result, if not 0, right? If not 1 in this case. So if not 1, continue, passed. This is all good, right? So we see it all spin through. The next object is 0, and it fails. Next object is 1, passed again. And then we have our else statement that says print processed, which is 3, because it hit the processed script block every time for each object. This statement was only true when there was a 1, so we have passed 2. A little bit more complex. In this video we discussed the while loop. We also threw in break, as well as mentioned list and a method of pop for a list, and we focused a little bit on counters. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and there'll be more.